things we have learned about the Dolphins this first week of practice over there at the Miami Herald, MiamiHerald.com. Omar Kelly, our dude, much love. First and foremost, I think the biggest takeaway this week, Tua Tagovailoa holding Tyreek Hill accountable.
Yeah, man.
That's a big one. I have not heard anyone, and I've been out and about, as I always am. Everyone comes to me and goes, I like what Tua did. I like it. And I say, I like what Tyreek Hill is saying. They're like, yeah, but it's even more important.
Stop. Kuzink, stop. Dan, he says it every freaking year. Stop.
It's better than him having a bad attitude.
No, I'd rather him not say anything at all. He said that thing. Come on, man. I've heard this.
Well,
I'm going to be good this year. Oh, you're going to see the best thing in Tyreek. We hear that all the effing time,
last time we forced him to talk, he said something really stupid. So rather than not say anything,
stop.
He's got to talk.
Of course, after the BS that he said at the end of the season, of course, everything that comes out of his mouth is going to be like proper, the things you want to hear. But no, we know the player.
Okay, let's talk about Tua doing the right thing.
A cheater doesn't change his spots, but Tua, we can talk.
That's what I want to talk about. Everybody, you're letting him get in your head. I'm saying this: a team that seems to have a void with leadership needs to fill.
I don't want Tyreek. I don't want that guy. The guy that's the reason why we're talking about the void of leadership. When you're a captain from last year's team and then you're pulling those silly stunts, dog, I don't want to hear anything from you. I really don't. You can tell me. You can tell me I'm going to change. I'm going to be that. It was great for him to be accountable. That's cool. But I've heard this before. I've heard it all before.
But maybe Tua Tagovailoa has realized that there is somewhat of a void when it comes to leadership, and he is willing to fill that void now. He is the leader of this team. With the comments he made, make me believe that he has realized that maybe it is time to step up, and I want to be a leader of this team and hold people accountable. And it starts from the top. You don't think Patrick Mahomes has control of the locker room and has respect of everybody and is holding people accountable?
But that was
absolutely.
But you know what? That was out from the gate. That was from the minute he was handed the starting job. We've been looking for this, or looking for some type of example of where we could say that, Tua's, he's your leader and stuff. He's your captain. He's the face of your franchise. You'll follow. You'll go through walls for this guy as he leads you. Fans wanted to see that, or the media wanted to see that. He was posed a question about Tyreek, and I think he answered it, like I said yesterday, very diplomatically, but very, very forthcoming in a way.
Now he just needs to stay healthy.
He was very forthcoming, where he was like, it's not with me. When he said that was the best answer, it was like, yeah, we're working on it, but it's not only with me he's got to work. He's got to do it with the whole team. So when I was speaking for the rest of the team, so I don't know if they had their own closed-door meetings with players or the leadership council. I think there was a leadership council that McDaniel had. Maybe the leadership council spoke, and Tua being the quarterback, he voiced what the council thought of. But I thought he was the man. Like, I thought he was the man who stood there and answered the question. Somebody said the other day, I was listening to Nick Wright and his I believe his stepson, they thought that Tua was trying to fiddle around the answer, and he was like, because he was sweating. I'm like, he just finished practicing and is in hot ass Miami. He wasn't sweating or fiddling. He answered the question very well.
To me, that's a poor take I
thought it was a terrible take. It was a very bad take, but that happens when you're talking about the Miami Dolphins, especially with Tua. People are going to have different takes. It's going to be very hot and cold takes.
What else Omar has noticed from this first week of practice, and I have noticed this also, Jalen Waddle has been more active. He has been more talkative and more active than I've seen Jalen Waddle in his entire career. Of course, they worked a lot together over the summer or whatever you want to call it, over the offseason. They did a lot of work together.
That's messed up.
What?
Yeah, football player summer is really the winter.
Yeah, yeah. So, Tyreek Hill missed all the offseason on-field work because of the wrist, the repaired surgery. So that gave Waddle more time to work with Tua, pretty much one-on-one. And it kind of seems to be rubbing off. Hopefully, Waddle will have a return to his 1,000-yard season. Another observation that has been made by Omar Kelly, Mike McDaniel continues to run a player-led team. The one thing I've always appreciated about McDaniel is the fact that he intentionally runs a player-driven organization, and the Dolphins head coach has no intention of changing that. That means the leaders set the standard for the team and police things like penalties and tardiness. Even though Miami lost two of last year's top leaders, Teron Armstead and Calais Campbell, we're seeing a bunch of youngsters step up to take on the leadership responsibilities. So everyone holding each other a little more accountable, hopefully. And that's one of those things where hopefully, once again, Tua can be a leader. Zach Sealer is a leader on this team. And whether you believe it or not, or whether he believes it or not for real, he says Tyreek Hill is a leader of this team. We'll see. Once again, that first day of school, you can make a lot of promises. We'll see. Dolphins added, of course, those new 3 cornerbacks. I don't know if you get super excited about Cornell Armstrong, Jack Jones, or Mike Hilton. I'm thinking Jack Jones and Mike Hilton will probably be serviceable at cornerback. Storm Duck, we'll see. Kader Kahu, we're still waiting to see what his status is after he kind of limped off yesterday. But they did add some cornerbacks. They did try to address somewhat of the cornerbacks. Ooh, Omar has one that scares me, Vlad, and this one probably should scare you too.
Why?
The O-line depth remains a concern.
Doesn't scare me. Why does it scare me?
Oh, man, I'm worried.
You should scare you because that's the funny thing. We're talking about all this other stuff, right? Tyreek, Zach Sealer.
Aaron Brewer has not practiced
The
yet.
number one thing is that offensive line. We've always said this. It's all about those big uglies in the trenches, whether the offensive line or your D line, your front seven. And though the first couple of practice, I heard the defense was getting the better of the offensive line. That is kind of worrisome. You should be worried because as much as we crack jokes about this guy, he's the only guy that knows this offense very well, the offensive line very well, and he's can be used for multiple positions. But you don't want to have Liam Eichenberg playing that many minutes. Playing that many snaps. And we still don't know what's up with the left tackle, Patrick Paul. The project, is the project churning? Is he starting to show flashes?
Reports are that Patrick Paul and Jonas Avianaya have been showing signs.
Okay, so that's great.
But that's coming from the other players. That's
right.
Not exactly,
The only consistent person is Austin Jackson. And then, like you just said, Aaron Brewer was banged up, and nobody knows the severity of this injury.
Lower extremity is like a soft tissue issue. You and I are really worried about it. I don't know if everybody else is as worried.
No, I am worried because you know why?
You and I are very worried about this.
Soft tissue. You're a center, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're being pushed back, and you're pushing forward. Yeah, that's a lot of strain on that lower region and on your lower extremity. So
Liam Eichenberg yet to take a snap because he's on the PUP list. Good news though, Jonas Avianaya supposedly is settling in at left guard. Omar Kelly telling us. Rookie admits he's not comfortable playing yet because it forces him to use a different stance and foot to push off from, but seems to be the spot where Miami feels it's best for Savianaya in the NFL home. We know more about Savianaya is doing when pads get put on Tuesday. So Tuesday you get the pads, practice gets more physical, but we need Jonas. Goes without saying, Vlad. Man, she looks good.
Yo, somebody got to tell Sarah Walsh her hair looks nasty. That wind is blowing her hair out.
So it goes without saying, you need your second round player to start.
What? You need your second round, third round players are pretty much the key to your team.
First, second, third round should be rookie starters or at least playing a lot.
Right. First rounders are supposed to be starters / stars.
Yes.
But you really win and are successful with the second, third, and fourth round picks that develop and become significant players on your team.
Another observation, Omar Kelly says Fitzpatrick has been giving the Dolphins the silent treatment. Now that might change now that he's gotten his contract. It seems like there's a lot of things. He is naturally a quiet person, but he has not spoken to the media. The new contract is done. You're figuring he's going to talk this week. Seems like he's pretty happy to be here. I know a lot of people were questioning that. I think he's all right. Zach Sealer doing work for now. Of course, everything might change in Zach Sealer when they put on the pads Tuesday. A lot of people have been asking Zach Sealer, not really saying too much about it. He wants to get out there and he wants to be part of practice. He is in a contract year. He does have Drew Rosenhaus. He sees Minkah Fitzpatrick wants a deal. Minkah Fitzpatrick gets a rework deal. You got to figure if you're Zach Sealer, you're due. You're owed that money. And once again, it's not, to me, like the Christian Wilkins situation where I was okay with letting Christian Wilkins walk. Zach Sealer, I do not want to see him sit out or miss any time because we really, really need him on this defense. And I am a believer in Zach Sealer, which I think most Dolphins fans have become a believer over the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Omar said, don't expect Devon Achane to produce if healthy. Let's read into this one. This one's got me a little, Achane was 1 yard shy of becoming a 1,500-yard producer last year. And the hope is that in the third year, tailback will pick up where he left off in 2024, where he'll likely share Miami's backfield with Jalen Wright. Don't be surprised if Achane handles a 220, 240 carry workload if he's healthy for the entire season. Achane is moving with a level of fluidity and mastery of the offense we haven't seen from him before. I'm sorry, it says, do expect Devon Achane to produce if healthy.
I was about to say, I was like, wait a minute. Everything he's saying is he's expecting him to do better. And
I was waiting for the hook. No, so expect him. If he's healthy, he basically had 1,500 yards last year. Expect him if he's healthy, 220, 240.
Total.
Yeah, right. That's
no, you said 1,500 yards. You got to say total.
He did have 1,500 yards last year.
1,500 total yards.
Okay.
Because when you say he's a running back, so when somebody might think when you say 1,500 yards, they might think 1,500 yards rushing.
Maybe if you're a national pundit and you don't follow the team.
Well, guess what? It still doesn't matter. There's somebody listening.
Running.
Yeah, you got to just say total. He received 1,500
now we're
total
getting
yards.
Into the minutia. 220, 240 carries, possibly this year. If he's healthy, you can expect big production from Devon Achane, whether it be catching, whether it be running, and hopefully some blocking. And last but not least, tight ends become an area of concern. Of course, Julian Hill, Tanner Connor.
That's not even that. Darren Waller. You got to understand he hasn't played football in probably almost 2 years.
Yes, he has not played in a long time. I like Pharaoh Brown because I think he's a physical guy.
And you talked to him.
He's a nice guy. Yeah. He promised me that he's going to be as physical as they possibly be this year. And he's got some catches. He got some hands, man. He had some hands in Seattle last year. So tight ends do remain a concern, and we just can't seem to get the tight end position correct here in Miami. It's just not that easy. Except we did get it correct last year with Jonnu Smith, and we traded him. That's it. That's all. That's your first week observations. So basically, Tua needs to become more of a leader, and maybe he is doing that. Tyreek Hill needs to shut up and play. Jalen Waddle needs to improve. Cornerback situation, interesting. O-line, interesting once again. And Zach Sealer's situation. We shall wait and see how it goes. So, like every team in the NFL right now, lots of question marks, I would say. Is there any team that has no question marks? Maybe the Eagles have less question marks than most.
That's always gonna be question marks. Eagles gonna be can they handle the success
and being everybody? When I say everybody's Super Bowl,
no,
everybody's biggest game of the year.
Not only everybody's biggest game of the year, but can they handle the expectations of being the favorite? Because now we saw what happened 2 years ago. Remember when they were 10-1, but there was everybody had something to say because they weren't playing the way that was expected. And little did we know that people were right. Like eventually they lost to Tampa in the wild card game. So just see how they're going to be able to handle success. Every team has questions, man. That's why the NFL works so much, because right now 32 teams are hopeful. And then after week 1, 16 teams are hopeful. And then after every team loses their first game, nobody's hopeful, because everybody's going to be just downtrodden and just upset.
It always does seem as though now, especially with the NFL and the way that they approach preseason, those first 2 weeks are very lethargic.
Yep.
But you can't get off to an 0-2 start, especially if you're the Dolphins this year with who you're playing. But everybody asks, and you sit there and if you're in Kansas City right now, you're probably like, well, what are they worried about? I'm sure you can hear all types of problems that the team possibly might have and what's going on, and maybe they've been figured out. There's just nobody that ever is like, oh, we're good. Although I did it with the Panthers, man. That was so nice with the Panthers, just to be like, oh, well, we'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Bill Zito's got this. Literally, I never worried last year with the Panthers. That's just interesting, man. But, man, this year, like I said, game 1, September 7th, 1 o'clock, Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis against the Colts. It is not a must win. You can never say week 1 is a must win, but it's one of the games that you really, really, really.
It's something
you got. You want to win.
You don't want to go 0-1 going in and then taking on New England. Now you could beat New England week 2, And then now you got the big game against Buffalo Thursday night. You lose to Buffalo and you're 1-2. Now that Monday night game against the Jets is very important because you don't want to be 1-3 and 2 losses back to back on national TV
and to your division rival.
That
put you so far back.
So you don't want that at all.
But this is the thing, and that's the thing. You lose week, and you always say there's context in losing.
There is context in losing.
You lose week 1 to a perennial Super Bowl team. That happens. You lose week 1 to the Indianapolis Colts, whose quarterback situation is just a huge question mark. That's tough. That's you don't hit the panic button when you lose to the Eagles or Kansas City Chiefs in week 1, or even the Bills in week 1. You do kind of want to hit the panic button if you lose to Indianapolis in week 1. Once again, it is on the road. Once again, it is week 1. Teams are still trying to kind of figure it all out, but still, that's a context in losing right there.
Yeah. But then what do you do?
All you can do is go out and try to win the next one.
What do you do?
That would be the most Dolphins thing to do. Go lose to the Colts, go lose to New England, then go beat Buffalo. It's like,
yeah, but guess what? If you beat Buffalo, everybody be happy.
I know, but still, like, no.
Everybody would be happy. Nobody would be upset.
Well, right now, we're trying to make everybody happy here in South Florida. Tua looking like a leader. Minkah Fitzpatrick reworking his contract, getting some more money. Zach Sealer, Drew Rosenhaus now can focus in on getting Zach Sealer that contract, however much it might be. Just get these games going. Pads go on Tuesday. We get the pads for the Miami Dolphins, and then we are off and running. Man, can't believe it, but they're going to have these joint practices with the Bears and the Lions about 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. They go up to Chicago and they play on a Sunday, and then they turn right back around and play in Detroit on a Saturday. And then, of course, they come back for Jacksonville, a little bit of joint practice with them, and then they play that game, and then season time, man. We get everything going. Let's keep everybody healthy. Got a couple of things we've already have to deal with in this. Cater Kahoo, once again, he walked around with a little bit of a limp. We're going to wait to hear on his status. Hopefully it's nothing because, like I said yesterday, although it sounds pretty bad, pretty much your best cornerback just went down. Cater Kahoo.
Yeah, that's not good, bro.
And we'll see how the new guys work out with the team. We're going to hear from some of the guys like Storm Duck later on, talking about how their life can be made a lot easier if other units step up and do what they need to do. I'm expecting a good pass rush from the Dolphins this year. I mean, on paper, Jalen Phillips healthy, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson. Maybe you get Zach Sealer in there, Kenneth Grant.
Well, you need those guys to produce, because if they're able to produce and get pressure on the quarterback, then the secondary doesn't have to
worry about it as
much and may have chances to get some turnovers. Because that something you said yesterday that was shocking. I was like, wow, the safety, they only committed they only forced one turnover last year, and that was week 1, and it was the turnover that changed the game.
Yes.
That started a 9-point turnaround for the Dolphins against the Jags. But if you're telling me that was the only, like,
that was it,
fam,
so
that's crazy.
Patrick gets an interception or 2 interceptions. He is already let's say in one game he gets 2 interceptions. He's already outperformed the whole entire year of last year's safety squad as far as turnovers are concerned. There's also some missed tackles by the safeties last year too, but that happens. It's football. What can I say about that? I'm excited though. I think Tua being a leader, and once again, I'm not going to get into Tyreek Hill stuff. Whatever happens is going to happen, and that's going to be what it is. Jalen Waddle is more vocal. Maybe he's getting more comfortable, although he's known Tua forever. They were in college together. And then you forget that those guys played together in college for a little while, he and Jalen Waddle. But
yeah, okay, so you mentioned that Waddle's a little bit more voiceful.
Yeah, he's a little more vocal. He's more active.
A little more vocal.
Barely
voicing his opinion more.
Barely talked during hard knocks.
I think he knows he's comfortable now.
Yeah.
He's got the contract extension. It starts this year. And that's his guy. He knows that quarterback since college. So therefore, good stop. So therefore, I think he feels more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
He knows his place on the team, that he's going to be able to voice his opinion a little bit more and become more of a leader, because
I would hope that last
5
year,
years, right? He's
yeah.
been with the
So-
team for 5 years. So yeah, you're going to be able, after 5 years, you should be able to voice your opinion and it be heard.
And speaking of that, he is a pro now. He knows what to expect. He knows how to be a professional. But also, I think maybe last year was a little bit of a wake-up call.
Maybe he saw that.
that
Maybe
was
I shouldn't
unacceptable.
follow. Maybe I and maybe I shouldn't follow what number 10 is doing all
Yeah.
the time.
After all this craziness that I'm seeing going on, maybe that's not the guy I should be behind and talking, letting, be the face of the receivers. Maybe it's my turn too. I get paid a lot of money. I got a lot of talent. Last year is unacceptable. I got to do something to make this different. Last year was unacceptable in any way, shape, or form from those two guys. And I understand the circumstances. Don't change the facts of the numbers. And don't change the fact that you had a losing season. So if you say, well, this, well, this, and this, you know what they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I don't want to hear it. I just want to see it. And then maybe Jalen Waddle's woken up, and he woke up last year and he's like, that's unacceptable. I had 1,000 yards my first 3 seasons. And then last year, that to the point where he scored a touchdown, didn't do the Waddle anymore. He said, nah. And you could tell he's not time for all that stuff. Jalen Waddle.
Maybe. I don't want to see sellies.
I mean, I like a little celebration.
Nah, I just want, if you're a Dolphin fan, you just want to see the team win. Enough of the celebration. That's all. That was all cool. That was all great in the first couple of years when you were trying to make a name for yourself. But like, I'm sick and tired. People are still living off the stuff that they did a couple of years ago. That's real talk. That 70-point beatdown of Denver
didn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything, because really guess what? On the flip side of that, you know who's they're a better organization than the Dolphins right now.
Yeah, that game has been talked about way too much. It didn't mean a thing other than you scored 70 points and you beat a bad,
at that time, a bad Denver team with the quarterback situation being, in shambles, with and Sean Payton not liking Russell Wilson that much. But
named starter for the Giants, by the way.
Well, I mean, he's going to have to be. But
if you're a Giants fan, good
luck.
I
don't want to hear any of that, like all the old stuff. What I want for the team to do is,
I like Waddle.
Yo, block out all the outside noise. Really, what they really need to do is tighten the group, tighten the circle, and just.
I agree, Vlad.
They just need to tighten the circle. You know what was another? You know what was another thing that messed up the Dolphins? The curse of hard knocks.
Yeah.
The end season.
I wouldn't mind this, Vlad.
All of that.
Like what you just said. I'll put it very succinctly.
They wanted to be flashy, too flashy, and they need to be just regular.
I'll put it succinctly what you just said, Vlad. For the Dolphins, shut up and play. That's all. Shut up and play.
That's it. Like, stop being. I know, we all know it's South Florida, South Beach, Miami. We get it. It means excitement. It means all of that. I get that. But you know what? That always excitement, flashy, doesn't always win. Boring wins a lot.
I'll say it again. Shut up and play.
Boring wins a lot. Kansas City had to become a boring team to win. The Eagles could be a boring team. Just hand the ball to 26. He's gonna. It's okay to do that.
Oh, look, the Ravens.
Boring, right?
Be tough.
Huh? You don't no nickname for no
Lamar Jackson. Don't dance.
Fastest team on surf. None of that.
Nope.
That don't mean anything.
It doesn't.
Because you know what?
You don't scare anybody.
You know what I realized about speed? Doesn't run too fast in the cold.
No. Well, I mean, we're the fastest team in the league. What has that done?
Don't mean nothing in January.
Again, it's like that 70-point win. What does it mean, though? Does it mean anything?
Means not a damn thing.
You act like there's not other fast players in this league.
It's like a traffic cop. He's just a traffic cop. He ain't a real cop.
Right.
He's just a traffic cop, Officer Moran. He's just a traffic cop.
I just say shut up.